Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the PAM panel, and Ted, lots of innovation happening in the industry with PAM.
Really excited to have Pam on the event. We want to welcome Abdullah Baig, founder of PAM.ai, and Jason Curnyn from Raceway Nissan. Gentlemen, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Glad
thank
to be
you.
here.
All right. Abdullah, I know Sarah and I have a couple questions. If it's okay, I'd like to come to you first. For those folks watching who are newer to PAM, tell us, what is it, who's it for, and what problem does it solve?
Absolutely. Ted, Sarah, thanks for having us. Really excited to be here and excited to chat with the dealer body for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What is PAM? Really simply, one of the hardest problems that auto retail is currently facing and has been facing for the past, I don't know, maybe 2 decades is answering the opportunities that are coming in. And primarily voice. And there was never really any great provider that could build a powerful enough AI system that could answer every single phone call. And that's really what we set out to solve for. Now we are the AI workforce for automotive. So now, several years in, 700 dealers plus on the platform, adding about 100 a month. And the AI workforce for automotive is meant to help you capture the two key things that every single dealer wants. It is booking more service and selling more cars.
Jason, I got to ask you, I think you had a lot of choices out there. What made PAM most relevant to your dealership?
Well, I was looking to solve a problem with our service traffic. We have an 8 rooftop family-owned company, and our service, repair order count was dropping like a stone. And we had an on-site BDC with about 14 employees, and I would meet with the manager regularly, trying to figure out, hey, why are we not getting the appointments? What's going on? And after a few meetings, we switched over from Reynolds and Reynolds DMS to Techion. And I remember going in through the Techion, we started talking about the AI capabilities of Techion DMS. And I remember them mentioning something about an AI platform. And so during the installation, I remember seeing an email regarding PAM. And so I thought that in the beginning, PAM was part of Techion. It was a completely separate entity. So I remember every Monday we have a conference call with all the general managers and the ownership, and we review the stuff every week. And it was brought up, and they said, "Hey, any of you GMs want to take it on as a pilot?" And of course, there's crickets in the room, and I'm like, "I'll take it. Let me have it," because I was actually looking for that. In my store in Riverside, Raceway Nissan actually is where I was managing. So what I was able to do is I was able to take PAM, onboard them as answering all the inbound phone calls, right? And how it was relevant is, like to Abdullah's point, a lot of the phone calls get missed when they come into the store. And one of the things I noticed right away was that there were no missed phone calls. Everything was documented, transcribed, nothing was missed. And we went back and answered all the questions. And then our in-house BDC teams were focusing on the list and calling and creating, appointments to come in the store. And so then I was involved in a pilot with the engineering team at PAM to come up with an outbound platform, and then we're off to the races. So it's been so awesome to see that we're able to save over $1 million a year in our company in fixed expense and increase our service traffic, at least through last year, upwards of 12 to 18%, depending on the rooftop.
Jason, that's incredible. I mean, just to hear those kind of numbers, I know a lot of our audience is definitely going to be listening to those kind of metrics, especially when it comes to savings and looking at margins. Abdullah, I'm curious, what are the biggest operational gaps or inefficiencies that dealers are still dealing with today in fixed operations?
Yeah, I think the gaps are pretty obvious and seen across majority of dealerships. Um, all starting from the point of phone calls, and oftentimes when we even frame the value of the product, we're not saying, hey, we're going to deliver you more revenue. I think simply what we're saying is we're going to capture what was already meant to come in, but now you're just not going to miss out on it. And oftentimes people say, I don't even know how many calls I'm missing, right? So I don't even know, I can't even quantify how many opportunities I'm missing. And what we see across the board is anywhere between 30 to 50% of phone calls being missed. And that was such a huge opportunity for us to go start solving for what we considered to be the hardest problem in automotive, 2 years ago. And now, across the board, the data is really simple. The impact is really simple. Dealers are saving so much more time across their BDC, across their service advisors, across their reception, because now they have every call being handled. The other key piece is also CSI, right? When you're missing out on these opportunities, you're not just missing out on service revenue. You're potentially impacting your CSI scores, and obviously that doesn't show very well when when it comes to the OEM relations and when it comes to cross group performance benchmarks and things like that. And so that's something that we show ability to have a positive impact for after we've launched PAM. And then at the end of the day, every dealer really cares about profitability, right? And if you think about auto retail specifically, and the dealership being like an SMB, how many other industries can you think of where you have like the average small medium-sized business with an in-house call center? And it's not common to see that, because retailers and auto retailers are dealing with so much frustration, so much call volume, and we've had to evolve to now have these really big call centers. In some cases, we've seen anywhere between 5 to 15% BDC for a single rooftop. And so now what dealers are approaching this problem with is, hey, if I even have PAM answering all of the initial calls and then passing off what you can't handle to the BDC, and then meanwhile you have other dealerships that are embracing the idea of AI becoming the BDC. And so one thing that I would say is, there's some people that might approach it from an after hours and overflow perspective, and if that's all you did, you would still see an increase in what you're getting on a month-to-month basis. And I think one area that we've really shined in as well, across the various different products and platforms that we've built and the AI agents and the AI employees that we want to be staffed and hired at these dealerships, across everything that we've built, the key bit, the secret sauce, so to speak, is how great the voice of PAM actually is. Constantly dealers are coming to us and telling us, hey, your voice is just top notch. Most of the customers that are calling in and coming in think she's a real person, and they're asking for PAM, saying, where is PAM? And we don't have a good answer. We don't know really what to tell the customers that are saying, yeah, I want to talk to PAM because she's the only one that ever picks up the phone call, right? Jason, do you
Abdullah,
have any stories like that?
Oh, all the time, in Spanish too.
I love hearing these kinds of stories, because I mean, this is real world. And Jason, you talked a little bit about your perspective from how you got started with PAM, but I'm curious, as you were considering solutions, what stood out to you versus the other options out there, or some of the other status quo kind of BDC services?
Well, I think Abdullah kind of stole my thunder on that. I mean, the voice,
Good voice.
the ability to gather all the phone calls, transcripted conversations in one place, the ability for me to reach out effectively. And this is something I want all the dealers out there to know that actually still run human-based BDC call centers. A lot of your UIOs out there might be 10, 12, 14,000 units. Okay, well, there's no way you can consistently reach every record if you have human callers. There's no way. So I found that out right away. Just as PAM as a force multiplier is huge. And in my Raceway Nissan store, there's 14,000 units in operation, and we feed different outbound campaigns monthly into PAM. And I know for a fact that every single one of them is going to get touched with a couple calls and a few text messages with our offer, without a doubt, 100%. Whereas you would probably have to staff 20, 25, maybe even 30 humans and not touch the entire list. So just from that perspective alone, I feel the product is worth it. But then also the ability to coach your advisors if a call goes wrong, or just the time savings on the drive that PAM is actually handling, at least in my stores, anywhere from 50 to 55% of the calls that my staff doesn't even need to touch. So they can focus on more quality time, reviewing multi-point inspections or calling customers back for status checks. And it's just a huge time saver. And we all know time is money. But in reduced expenses and higher revenues, it's just honestly, PAM's been the best partner out there. And I haven't seen any other solution in the space that can even match it.
If I might even break down, Sarah, Ted, like what the different agents that we actually have, the AI employees, so to speak. We have our receptionist and our service scheduling agent. This is what most of the market was asking for years ago. There were other solutions out there, but a lot of the different solutions that were in the market were built off of these constrained workflows. Kind of like, if you say this, then
Yeah.
the AI will say this, right? And so when we built end to end with large language models, and now we have this purpose built engine and
It's
architecture,
very
this
dynamic. Yeah.
infrastructure purposely built for the automotive industry, maybe what we would consider the most advanced automotive, large language model or multi large language model basis is what we would consider, cutting edge stuff that we've been building internally. And now we took that to the market, and the whole point was answer every phone call. And then, like Jason is describing here, well, now I have lists. I have lists for retention campaigns. I have lists for recall campaigns. I have lists for declined services. I have my telematics lists. What do I do with these lists? Usually I just pass them off to the BDC and say, make the phone calls. And then sometimes they make them, sometimes they don't.
They don't.
Right? Sure. And so no need to mince words here, right? And so imagine taking a list of 10,000 VINs and giving it to PAM. And in fact, PAM can even automatically just pull these lists on a recurring basis through your DMS, through your scheduler system, fully automatically. And then she will just automate it in an automated way, just reach out to these people through phone and text, all in a TCPA compliant format, and just constantly reach out to these people and just boost the service appointments. In some cases, we've seen a Lexus store in in a city, and they have been booking 200 additional appointments per month from what they were doing before, and they're booking an additional $300,000 worth of parts and labor revenue every month from what they were doing before. Jason, if you can describe it, like what were like the numbers before versus after it?
Before I answer that, let me just kind of dovetail on the previous comment. One thing that service managers need to know is a lot of service managers in their BDC teams, they don't vibe. This, and with using PAM, the service manager has full control of their BDC over the offers they send out, and even the tone in which the offers are given, and it's 100% the same way, same experience every time. PAM never has a bad day. PAM never has to call and take off, right? And it's such a better customer experience. But to Abdullah's question, follow-up question, yeah, at Raceway Nissan, you can go back and review it. We grew our RO count 30%, and we saved a ton of money in fixed expenses. So when you can gross more and expense less, that's a win-win that any dealer is going to understand. So I've always said anybody can reach out to me to verify any of the data I'm speaking to. And like I say, I enjoy the partnership with Pam and the team. So not only that, they're very approachable when I have an idea. They're very responsive. They're in it to be a partner with the dealer, which is another refreshing change. A lot of vendors will sign you up, and then you never hear from them again. This has actually become, I feel like, part of the family.
I love it.
Amazing.
We're speaking today to Jason Curnyn at Raceway Nissan and Abdullah Baig, the founder of PAM AI. All right, so Abdullah, for the dealers watching today intently, when they evaluate solutions that are in this space, some advice from you, what should they actually be looking for?
Absolutely. I think it really comes down to the breadth and the depth of the product and the product team, right? The company behind the system as well. And so, I was sitting on a stage last weekend, and I was sharing the stage with a couple AI companies, a couple workflow-based, automation companies, and then a DMS company. And everyone was being asked questions about AI, and you can tell who has the AI DNA and who doesn't have the AI DNA. And dealers, by the way, are extremely sophisticated buyers.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen all the demos, you've seen the technology, you know how to describe APIs better than engineers do, right? You know how all of this stuff works. You've seen it all. And I think most general managers probably jump on 3-4 demos a day, right, these days, right? There's just so much technology out there. And everyone has a really simple, I would say a really good heuristic, right? In being able to evaluate, is this legit? Is it not? Is the person that's giving me this information, are they a technical person or are they not? Do they understand what they're selling me or do they not? And I think there's a lot of noise out there in the market. So for folks that are trying to figure out how do I just navigate through the noise, it's really simple. Is the company that you're talking to a company that has the DNA of the product that you're looking for? It doesn't even just work with AI. It works for CDP technology. It works for CRM technology. It works for DMS technology.
Mhm.
And so if you go to a CRM provider for CRM solutions and you go to a CDP provider for CDP solutions, oh my God, maybe I should go to an AI provider for AI solutions, right? And I think it just comes down to that, right? So what's the DNA of the company? That's the first piece. The second piece is ask those partners or future vendors, those future partners, what's your retention like, right? What's your support like? Put it down on paper, right? Ask for that in the agreement. Talk about SLAs, talk about uptime. Those are really great questions to ask and really great things to hash out before you get into partnership. And a lot of people nowadays, and a lot of companies like ours, are willing to embrace shorter term pilots, so to speak, for longer term agreements, right? Because folks want us to be able to prove ourselves. Especially it becomes less common nowadays because folks see PAM as like the leading provider for voice AI, but still we still embrace these customizations, these pilots, these short-term agreements, just so that we can bake off against someone else. And we're winning them 100% of the time, so we feel pretty good about where we're at. And so I would say it comes down to the DNA of the company, what the support looks like, and then the team's ability to execute. And you will soon very quickly find out, are they meeting and matching and honoring the promises that they're making when it comes to their roadmap? That's something that we really pride ourselves on: under promising and over delivering on the product and the product experience.
And Jason, that's unusual, okay, for the automobile business to encounter that with a partner. Jason, it sounds like a lot has changed since you adopted the PAM platform.
Mhm.
Anything else we need to know on that?
Shoot, there's so many benefits I didn't even really touch on. One that just came to mind is my shop was a lot more efficient when I plugged PAM in,
Okay.
and I found that a human agent will typically not offer times that are not conducive to the store, or more what the customer wants, and creates bottlenecks in production. I mean, Pam's consistent experience, I'm making sure that my shop is loaded most effectively, and that happened right off the bat. So there's so many extra benefits that a dealer would see, and I would be happy to mention that to anybody who would reach out to me.
It's so exciting to hear this incredible information, Jason and Abdullah and Ted. Lots of exciting opportunities ahead for automotive dealerships to really engage with PAM.
Abdullah, I got to tell you, this is very refreshing for the Fixed Ops Roundtable community. I mean, we
I hope
pride
so.
ourselves on early adopters, but you are really setting the new benchmark in this entire category.
I think we like to lead with our best foot forward, and who better to hear from? Like, I can yap on screen, right? Forever, right? It's impossible to get me to get me to stop. But who better to hear from than someone that's in it, living it, breathing it, dying for it,
24/7
surviving, right?
every day. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we had to delay the segment because Jason was busy closing the books, right?
Absolutely.
And now here we are, right? So it's like you're living it, you're breathing it. I think this is the best way to talk about the system. And one thing that I would say is Jason described how Raceway Nissan, Temecula Nissan, they're part of a larger group of about 8 franchise locations. And for us, there's no dealer partner too small, right? It's if it's a one rooftop, 2 rooftops, you know I will happily spend the time to sit on a call with those folks just as much as we spend time with the publics that we work with and the large privately owned automotive groups that we work with. And so I think the key point is the solutions that we're offering and that we're bringing to the market can and should be used by everyone, and we want to be able to take it to everyone. And one of the reasons why we really pride ourselves, I think the metric that we care about most is our retention, being able to maintain a high 90s percentage retention across any of the rooftops that we work with across all the cohorts. Why we're with 750 locations and adding another 100 every month, and able to maintain that retention is because we have a co-founding team, an incredible co-founding team, and leaders in the business that really know how to focus on the key pieces. We have a co-founder that's focused on integrations and building the best possible integrations that we can build from within that integrations team, the engineering team led by a co-founder, the go-to-market team led by a co-founder, the product team led by one of my co-founders. And so that is really what it comes down to: the DNA of the company, the ability to dive in with the dealers no matter who they are, right? They can reach anyone within the company. There's no one that we would gatekeep.
Jason, I'll give you the final word for dealers watching. If you had advice to give them in 30 seconds, what would you say?
Don't think about it. Just do it. Just get off the fence and get in the game, because AI is not leaving. We need to utilize these technologies to become more efficient as compression of margins continue in sales and service. And if you want your customers to get a positive experience every time, then PAM, it's a no-brainer.
Well, Ted, this is exciting information, and it'll be great to learn more as the year goes on with Abdullah and Pam.
Everybody, for the audience watching today, for more information, if you want to learn more about what PAM.ai can do, just visit them on the web. It's been impressive. We congratulate Abdullah Baig and Jason Curnyn for being here with us today and sharing this. And Abdullah, I can't wait to come back, because it's amazing. Every few months, it seems like a whole new world. Okay, so you're making great strides. So congratulations to you, and you're off to an incredible future in the automotive industry. So
Ted, Sarah, thank you so much. And Jason, always a pleasure, man.
Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you, Ted, Sarah. Appreciate you.
Everybody, for more information, visit PAM.ai on the web. The team from PAM here with us today on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.